It was probably 3:30 in the morning, and I was walking home by myself, and I came out of a blackout, and I prayed, and I said, God, I need your help, please. I'm going to lose my kids. And they were 4.5 and 8, and that was it. I mean, I knew that at some point I would lose them.
There are moments in life when everything falls apart and somehow something sacred begins. On Hope Comes to Visit, we share those stories. We're really excited you're here with us today. I am very excited to share with you a friend of mine. This is Jamie Felton. Jamie, thank you so much for being here with us today. I am excited to have you here because you and I have a relationship that goes beyond this podcast, right? Mm-hmm. So you are a woman in recovery. Mm-hmm. And in addition to that, you have started your own business and you are working to help other people, other families in recovery. And I want to share all of the work you are doing, all of the heart that you have, and the hope that you are sharing with other individuals and other families. So first of all, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Let's take a quick moment to thank the people that support and sponsor the podcast. When life takes an unexpected turn, you deserve someone who will stand beside you. St. Louis attorney Chris Dully offers experienced one-on-one legal defense. Call 314-384-4000 or 314-DUI-HELP. Or you can visit dullylawfirm.com. That's DULLE lawfirm.com for a free consultation.
So let's start with a little bit of your story. So in sharing with our audience, let's talk a little bit about you and your recovery, how you came to be in this field, how you found yourself here, and what your hope is.
So I pretty much knew from the time I was in junior high that there was something off. And that's when I started drinking, dysfunctional family, like everybody's stories somewhere, and went through, I made it through college, graduated, moved to Aspen and skied for a year, went downhill from there, moved to Scottsdale, Arizona for a couple of years, and then ended up getting married after that to the guy I moved to Scottsdale with. We had our first son in 1998 and then had a second son in 2002. And I ended up kicking my ex-husband out when Sam was an infant and Jack was a toddler. And I drank for another 4 years and continued to spiral because it's a progressive disease. And then I finally decided I can't do this anymore.
What was your tipping point in terms of deciding that you were done drinking? Because I know that for so many people, obviously I am also in recovery, right? Something else you and I have in common. It took a lot for me to get there. Mm-hmm. And I know that is different for everyone, but you reaching that point is something that helps you to relate to other people. What was your moment in saying, I'm done?
I think everything, in my life led up to that. So 3 underage drinking citations by the time I was 17, 3 DUIs by 24, failed marriage, and then just waking up every day and feeling like a loser. And I hated myself.
It's interesting that you say that, right? Because I think that there's so many people who can relate to that waking up every day and thinking, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And for me, I would wake up that way. I frequently woke up at 3:30 in the morning, mm-hmm. and I would think, God, I'm doing it again. And I would convince myself that I wouldn't do it. But somewhere in the middle of the day, the next day, I would think, I'm going to do it one more time.
Mm-hmm.
How did you tip out of the place where you were cycling? Because it took me a long time to stop that cycle, to stop but I can do it one more time. This time it will be different. And I know for a lot of people, it's that, but I can this time, but something can change, but, doing it over and over and over again. And when you say, I felt like a loser, right? So many of us, when we're struggling, we do beat ourselves up. Do you know what it was that helped you to make that change? Because you're talking about a number of different things that for some people who are listening who don't understand what it feels like to be there. You had the citations, you had the DUIs. For someone who hasn't been where we are, they think, well, if I got one DUI, I'd stop.
Right.
We don't, right? When we're struggling, when we are in this place, we don't automatically stop with what feels like to one person might be just a bottom. What was the one thing that said, okay, now I'm done? Like this moment, I'm looking in the mirror and I'm saying, okay, Jamie, you finally hit done.
Mm-hmm. It was probably 3:30 in the morning, and I was walking home by myself, and I came out of a blackout, and I prayed, and I said, God, I need your help, please. I'm going to lose my kids. And they were 4.5 and 8, and that was it. I mean, I knew that at some point I would lose them. So,
it's interesting. My kids factored into it for me too.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I needed to make a change there too. So what did that change look like for you?
Well, for 7 months I was sober. I changed my whole routine, and then my best friend from 3rd grade, her husband drank himself to death at 36. And I remember it was a Friday night. I was with her. My boys were with their dad. And on Saturday, I thought, oh my gosh, what if I start drinking again? And I had heard about AA. So that's when I went to my first meeting.
So at that point, you'd been sober on your own, sort of white knuckling it.
Yeah.
And then you decided that AA was an option.
Yes.
Okay. And how long have you been sober now?
Almost 19 years. It will be in November.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
What keeps you on track?
Faith in God, and the support of the fellowship, and prayer, meditation, working in the field.
Okay.
So, yeah, all those things.
So let's talk a little bit about working in the field. So you have started work on your own.
Uh-huh.
I know for me, within that first week of being so I went to treatment, and within that first week, I had a woman say to me, part of your gift in this is going to be helping others. Mm-hmm. I am not active in a program because there are other things that I do to stay on track.
Right.
But I know that staying active in helping other people has been key for me. And you have started something on your own to help other people. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that.
It's Fresh Start, Addiction and Recovery Consultants. And I started this a couple years ago. My son died from a heroin overdose, 2019.
Okay.
And when he started using, I had no idea what to do. So I would Google things. He'd go to wilderness camp, rehabs, all of that. And so a couple of years ago, I thought, well, I can help other people.
Okay.
And yeah.
I'm going to backtrack for a second. We're going to talk more about Fresh Start in just a second. So let's talk about your son, Jack. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So how old was Jack when he started using?
Probably 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so for you, your struggle was alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Jack's, did it start as heroin?
No, it started with marijuana.
Okay.
and then moved quickly to Xanax and Oxy and heroin.
And so, as someone who struggled with alcohol, did the substances feel very foreign to you?
No, because I also I did drugs as well.
Okay.
So,
Did you recognize the signs right away
yeah,
in him?
immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as someone who had struggled on your own, what was your initial? Was your initial like, I can help him through this? Or, oh no, my child is going down the same path? Like what is as a parent? Because I know that for me, it is one of my fears, right? Knowing that this was something I struggled with. I'm also the adult child of people who struggled with alcohol.
Yeah.
So I recognize the family, the threads that run through us, right? So I do worry about that being something that my kids could ever. It's a fear of mine, right? Was it something that had been a fear of yours when your kids were younger?
I don't know that I ever really saw it, or thought of it.
Okay.
I knew that he was impulsive, and so I saw, he was exactly like me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as a mom, you're trying everything.
Mm-hmm.
How did he have periods of sobriety and recovery?
Yeah, he did. Probably 11 months was the longest. And then a few months here and there in between rehabs, and that was that.
Okay. Tell me about him.
He was very outgoing. He was funny, very smart. He loved skiing, and Colorado was kind of our place. And he was incredible. Yeah.
As someone in recovery, I have often said, we go through so much to pull ourselves out of that place. I wish that we would be exempt from the hard things. Losing a child has got to be the very, very hardest. I wondered when I was working to be sober if there would be anything that would make it so that I couldn't stay sober anymore. I have experienced hard loss since being in recovery.
Yeah.
But losing a child, how did you stay on track?
First, it was God always for me. And I had a routine every day where I would pray, meditate, journal, exercise, and make myself feel it.
So that's interesting, right? Because I think that one of our instant go-tos is I don't want to feel, right? As someone who was struggling with addiction, that's one of our things. We don't want to feel. So that's I just want to drink. I don't want to feel what I'm feeling. Did you find yourself tempted, triggered, thinking like, I'm really having to work at this?
No, I didn't. Sam was 17 at the time, and so it wasn't an option. And I knew if I started drinking, that would be it. It would be over.
Okay. What advice do you offer to other people who are going through something challenging like that?
If you're sober, do what you can to stay sober. If you don't have a higher power, find one. Talk about it if you need to talk about it. Cry. Allow yourself to walk through the steps in grief. So
you mentioned feeling, right? How important is that? How important is it that we allow ourselves, or that we learn how to feel? Because I think that so much of what we do when we are actively in addiction is avoiding feeling.
Right.
So how important is it that we find a way to feel?
Well, I don't think you can make it to the other side unless you feel it. If you choose to cover up that pain, then you're going to wake up the next day and have the same pain. So you've got to deal with it.
What has been the most healing part of all of this for you? You've had to continue to work through losing your son, but you're starting something.
Mm-hmm.
You have started a new hope-filled business that allows you to work with other families. But one of the pieces that we haven't talked about yet is that your other son, Sam,
Mm-hmm.
works with you in that. And
Right.
Sam is also in recovery.
Right.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about that. Let's talk about the process of Sam finding himself in recovery. At what point did Sam choose recovery? Was it before or after losing Jack?
Sam was in a treatment center when Jack died.
Wow.
And he had 90 days sober the night before Jack's funeral and fell off the rails 2 months later.
Sweet baby.
Mm-hmm. For 2 years.
Okay.
So, and then he decided, he's 23, got sober a little bit before his 20th birthday.
Okay. How is he doing now?
Great. Had a baby last week.
Okay. Talk to us about Sam.
He got married a couple of years ago. When he got sober, he got his GED. He's in college full-time, works full-time, works with me. He's amazing.
It is unique to choose recovery young,
Yeah.
right? How, and I think that the extraordinary piece is you have him working with you. So one of the extraordinary things about the work you are doing is you have you
Mm-hmm.
with your age, family experience, life experience that can walk families through the
Right.
process.
Right.
And then you also have Sam, who chose recovery young, who can offer his life experience and perspective. That makes what you guys do unique.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about the services that you guys offer. Let's talk about Fresh Start. So the services that you guys offer, because I think what you do is unique. You guys are not a treatment center.
Right.
So what does Fresh Start Recovery Services do?
So I figured out, as I said a couple of years ago, and people had been calling me, for help since they knew that when they found out Jack died, because they knew I had been in recovery for quite a while and that I had 2 sons that were addicts. And so then I thought a couple of years ago I could help, in doing more because I was such a disaster when they were using, nut ball. And
In what way?
because I was filled with fear. I followed drug dealers. I was driving around at 2:00 in the morning trying to find one of my kids. Yeah.
I am familiar with that. When you
Yeah.
care about someone who is struggling,
Yeah.
you are hunting people down. You
Yeah.
are so worried. You are so panicked. You are tracking phones. You're doing
Yeah.
anything to find people.
Yeah.
Okay. So people knew that you were doing anything you could.
Right. So I thought, when someone comes to me now and needs help, not only can I place their loved one in a treatment center, but while they're gone, I help the family.
Okay.
And I work with them once a week. And then when the person returns, I find a continuum of care, therapy, whatever they need to help them, be successful in staying sober.
Okay, so you offer intervention services. So if a family says, hey, I have someone who needs help, so you offer intervention from that capacity.
Right.
So you will help someone figure out how to help their loved one. You also offer transportation to a treatment center.
Right.
If someone needs to go further away. But you help them if someone says, I don't know what to do. I have someone who's willing. Where do I go? What do I do?
Right.
Okay. What does Sam do on his side?
Sam is great when it comes to dealing with teenagers and young adults because of his story. And they relate more to him than they do me.
Right.
Because I'm this middle-aged woman. For example, he was not with me at this point, but I walked into a hospital to see a 17-year-old girl. And she immediately said, I'm not going to rehab. And I said, okay, can I tell you a story? And so I made it quick.
Right.
And talked about Sam, and she said, okay, I'll go.
Really? Okay. Did she take the time to talk to Sam?
No.
No, but you just told her about Sam.
Right. So she connected with his story.
Right.
Yeah.
How powerful. So storytelling to me is the core of so much, right? That's why we do this, right? This is why I wanted this podcast to exist, because I think that the most powerful things that we hear are things that we already know, which boils down to hearing our story from someone else's mouth, right? Hearing you tell someone an experience that you've had that they're currently experiencing, and they think, I am not alone.
Right.
And that is what I think is so beautiful about the work you're doing. You are taking your life experience, not only your recovery journey, moving through addiction and continuing to drink and then making the choice to not, your path of white knuckling, and then choosing AA, and then as a mother who worked to help your children, one is successfully in recovery, and unfortunately you lost one. But then there's the piece where you stayed on track for you, right?
Yeah.
And now you're actively helping other people. How do you define hope?
When I think of hope, I never gave up hope when it came to Jack and Sam, as far as, seeing them get sober one day. And so just allowing people to have the thought that everything's going to be okay and that things can change and you don't have to live like this forever. Now, I always tell people, just because we place your loved one in a treatment center does not mean that they're going to get sober,
Right.
And I have to be transparent from the get-go. Doesn't mean everything's going to be all right that day. But it might give them hope that it's going to change, and it will.
And I think that's really, really important, right? Especially because giving voice to our experience, right? Being able to look at you now and you saying, I have 19 years, right? No one looks at you and says, I bet you used to struggle with alcohol, right? and I think that generally speaking, I walk down the street and people don't say, I bet that woman's in recovery, right? But that's part of it, right? Is being able to say, I want what you have, right? Being an example of what it can look like on the other side.
Right.
And there are so many pieces of your journey that are the other side, right? The recovery piece, the surviving loss, the being able to help other people through this experience. In doing what you're doing, are you offering people experiences anywhere? Like not just locally, right? You're not just saying, hey, we'll place you locally. It's anywhere.
So when I was trying to find treatment for Jack particularly, no one was asking questions. I didn't know what to do. So I would Google that's where he would go. Whoever was paying the most for the SEO, that's where they go.
Right.
And no one was asking about trauma in his life, anxiety, ADHD, mental illness in the family. And so when I meet with people, I find out as much history as I can about their family and the person that needs to go to treatment. And you ask questions. That's how you learn.
Okay.
And the places where I send people are out of state, and typically 90-day programs. I've had a couple of people that could absolutely not do that because of kids at home and divorced or whatever. And then I set up the continuum of care. If a person does not have kids or a spouse at home, they don't have to go home. I try to get them in a facility that has aftercare with the sober living there and get them to stay at least a year.
Okay, so you're bringing up some things that I think are really important that the average person or anyone who might have someone who's struggling doesn't know. What are important questions to ask if you have someone who's struggling and they are seeking help or they're just in that beginning process of what do I do?
Yeah.
And they're going to reach out to you or to someone else. What are important questions to ask about getting someone help? So when they're trying to figure out, like, what do I do? You're mentioning 90 days, or should they go out of state? Should they, what are the important questions they should be asking someone? Because you said all people are doing is Googling or like the SEO. Right. What should they be looking into?
Well, when I ask questions, I'm asking, when people ask me for help, obviously I want to know where they've been, where their loved one has been, in treatment before if they have, and what was set up afterwards. But I don't love co-ed facilities for people for many different reasons. So I try to stay away from co-ed. Out of state, I like. Am I answering your question?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
I get off
absolutely.
track here.
No, that's okay. I think that I believe that when someone has a loved one who's struggling, they don't know what to look for.
Right.
Right? So I'll make it simple. What makes good treatment in your mind? What should I look for? If I'm trying to help someone, what should I look for?
I look for treatment centers that have a solid clinical program. Psychiatrists, obviously, the therapy, the groups. What else are they doing outside of groups? Is it mind, body, spirit? Working out was huge for me getting sober. I like to talk to other people that have been at the treatment centers, other people that have used those that are consultants that I've met out in the field. So those, but then really when I'm asking families about their loved ones, I ask a lot about trauma and their past. There's a lady that owns a treatment facility in Florida that she thinks all addiction stems from some sort of trauma. And I think that's fascinating.
That is interesting. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I think that when I think about all the people I know who have struggled, there is some type of correlation.
Right.
Right. When you are making these recommendations, how important is family support or support for some type of support afterwards?
Oh, well, it's huge. So, you expect your loved one to work a program of recovery, so the family needs to do the same. And until I realized that I needed help when my boys were using, as I said, I was a disaster. And then one day, I put myself in danger and was driving out of this horrible park and thought I need to get help.
I think so. This is a really important point. because I have worked with many, many families who have someone who's struggling. And frequently the thought process is, my family member needs help.
Right.
Take them. They need to go do what they need to do.
Right.
And once they get help, everything will be fine. And the thought process that is neglected is that the other entities within the family, the other dynamic, whatever may have been contributing to that person who is struggling is going to stay the same if everyone else doesn't at least take a hard look at themselves. How do you bridge that gap? How do you talk to a family and say, I lovingly suggest that you also take a look internally, do some self-work, get some help, seek some therapy, whatever that may be, because I know that it's hard for people to say, I might be involved in this as well.
Right. So I wish I can make it mandatory.
Me too.
For families. I mean, it really, when I started this, I mean, I know that I was difficult to deal with.
Right.
Difficult to deal with. That's how I am, and that's how most are that are using drugs and alcohol.
Right.
But it's really the families that are harder to deal with. And and I get it because I was there. But that fear, you know, that overtakes everything, it drives you to do crazy things, and you say things, and out of fear, you know, my fear sometimes would turn to anger, like, why are you doing this? Even though I was in recovery and I know it's a disease, why did I keep doing it?
Right.
Why did I keep drinking? And so for the families, when I meet with them once a week while the person is away, and I continue meeting with them when they get home.
That's incredibly valuable. I love that you do that.
I was not an Al-Anon person, because when Jack, and it's saved tons of lives. Al-Anon has been a great program for a lot of people. For me, when Jack started using, he was 13.
Okay.
And so I didn't find a connection with anyone in there that had kids that young. Nar-Anon was better.
Okay.
And then one-on-one therapy is really what saved me. With this lady, was amazing. So I try to get people to go to therapy, Al-Anon, at least check out 6 consecutive meetings in a row.
Okay.
You don't like one, go to another one. And then I recommend classes. One, there's a charge, and then there's another one in Kansas City and in other cities that's no charge.
Okay.
Or you can do them online. So I really want them to start focusing on themselves, but learning about the disease. And we don't want to be like this. It's not like I woke up every day going, God, I hope that today I am just like I was yesterday.
Right.
When I woke up and I looked in the mirror and I hated myself.
Yes, I can remember saying, there is no one who wants this to change more than me.
Right.
There is no one who wants me to stop drinking more than me.
Right.
And I wake up every day and I think, today is the day I'm going to stop this. And I was so angry at myself for not being able to control this. And I couldn't figure out why.
Yeah.
I felt like there were so many things in my life I could control. Why not this?
Right.
Why when I wake up at 3:30 in the morning and I think, God, I did it again. Who do I have to apologize to? What did I say? Where is my car? Like, and I wake up in the morning and I think, okay, today's the day, I'm not going to do it. And by 3:30 in the afternoon, I think, okay, I can have one. It's just that I didn't eat enough. I didn't, I didn't go slowly enough. I didn't drink water in between. I was a master at playing Twister with how I could finagle different things. And I wanted to find a way to control it. I didn't like that those people can have mimosas at brunch. Why can't I? Why can't I be normal? Right. And I finally had to come to terms with the fact that this was my lot, right?
Right.
Some people have diabetes, some people get cancer, some people have epilepsy, and I can't drink.
Right.
And it just, this is my path.
Yeah.
Right. It was just a hard one for me to accept.
Yeah.
But having supportive people in my life was instrumental
Right.
in me continuing to walk this path.
Mm-hmm.
So you offering those services is extraordinary.
Thank you.
What advice would you offer to a family who has someone who's struggling?
Don't give up. Don't give up on them. Try to get help for yourself. Tell them whoever's using, you love them every single day. And one question that no one asked, I don't think anyone ever asked me, is there something I can do to help you? What can I do? I love you. I see you struggling. How can I help?
That's so funny. Like, how can I help was on my business cards.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's how I answered the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, hi, this is Danielle. How can I help? Right? Because I know that nobody asked me that either.
Right.
Right? There was a lot of, why don't you stop drinking?
Right.
Not, how can I help you figure this out?
Right.
Because people didn't understand. There was a lot of stop drinking, but nobody understood that I was the one who wanted to stop more than anyone else.
Right.
So I think that what you're talking about is so incredibly powerful. How can people find you?
What you just said a second ago prompted this. When I was 9 years sober, I found a journal. And I used to journal when I was drunk. And I'm a big journal person right
Me too.
now as well. But I found a journal, and 2 months before I quit, I had journaled, besides my boys, I hate myself, I hate my life, and I don't know what to do. And I didn't know what to do because I played every game. It's like you said, I didn't need enough. I didn't drink enough water. I didn't do that. I didn't know what to do. And so, it's a scary place to be. Okay, you asked me a question, and now I need to go back to that.
No, how can people find you? How can people reach out to you to find your services, to if they've got questions or they even want to explore beginning this process?
So Fresh Start Recovery Consultants is my website. My phone number is on there. My email is on there, so they can just reach out.
And you're happy to help anyone.
Yes.
I am so grateful that you've spent time with me. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to share?
I don't think so. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much for
Thank you.
being here and sharing your story, sharing Jack's story and Sam's story.
Thank you.
And for being willing to share this piece of you and offer light and hope to other people who are struggling and to families who have someone who's struggling. I think it means so much. I think that going through this process is challenging. It's a part of my story. It's one of the reasons that I wanted to start this podcast. And while I know that this isn't a recovery podcast per se, it is, there is so much light to be found on the other side. And I'm really grateful you're here.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you so much, friends, for spending time with us. I certainly hope that Jamie's story has met you where you are and that you will take the time to share this with someone you know. And if you know someone who's struggling, that you will reach out to Jamie and that you will share this podcast with other people. And between now and the next time that you spend time with us, you will take very good care of you. Thank you for being here.
Naturally, it's important to thank the people who support and sponsor the podcast. This episode is supported by Chris Dully, a trusted criminal defense attorney and friend of mine here in St. Louis, who believes in second chances and solid representation. Whether you're facing a DWI, felony, or traffic issue, Chris handles your case personally with clarity, compassion, and over 15 years of experience. When things feel uncertain, it helps to have someone steady in your corner. Call 314-384-4000 or 314-DUI-HELP, or you can visit dullylawfirm.com to schedule your free consultation.